Brian, we got a lot to unpack here. What do you make of all of this? We're now getting some light shed on what's really happening with that Tampa offense.
Jenna, shame on Bruce Arians. This is him passing the buck. This is him saying and distancing himself from the play of Tom Brady. This is him saying, well, this is just Tom just being Tom, and I don't have anything to do with that. Well, you're the head coach, and if Tom Brady is struggling and you're still allowing him to pick the plays and call the plays, then shame on you. You shouldn't be doing that. You should be saying, okay, Tom, maybe picking the plays and calling the plays isn't your thing. I should just call the plays and we figure it out and you work things out on the field. But if you're saying you can pick the plays, and I've heard quarterbacks saying, okay, I like these 10 plays. Let's make sure that we get to them. That happens in every organization. But picking the plays and calling the plays throughout a game, that just doesn't happen a lot of places. Here's a couple things. If you want to win in Tampa Bay, run the football. Why doesn't Tom pick some run plays?
Yes.
Over the last 4 games? I'm going to give you some stats. Versus the Chiefs, 13 rushes. Versus the Rams, 18 rushes. Versus the Panthers, who they blew out, 37 rushes. Great job running the ball there. And, of course, versus the Saints 4 weeks ago, only 5 rushes. If they're going to say, Tom, we're going to allow you to pick the plays, you should be picking some run plays to help you on offense as well, Tom Brady.
Yeah, Brian, I don't think this is Bruce Arians passing the buck. I think this is Bruce Arians has finally reached his tipping point for how much criticism that is undeserved he's going to take. How much of Bruce Arians' football record is going to be rewritten in an attempt to defend and prop up age 43 Tom Brady? Big Ben went to 2 Super Bowls and had the best stretch of football of his career under Bruce Arians. Carson Palmer came in second in a league MVP and went to a conference championship under Bruce Arians. They bring in Tom Brady, and they allow Brady to pick the wide receiver, to bring back Gronk. They allow Brady to set up practices on his own before the team can even get together. They give Brady carte blanche, and when things are going great, then everyone's loving on Brady. When they're 6-2, he's an MVP candidate. And now they're 7-5, and the narrative is Bruce Arians is screwing him over. Calling too many deep shots, not calling enough run plays, not letting him run the New England offense. An offense that, by the way, if he wanted to run, he could have run by staying in New England. He chose to go to Tampa. He chose to go to this system in this situation, and evidently the coaching staff has given him a lot of leeway and input on the game plan. So I think Bruce Arians is just saying, you know what? I'm just going to speak the facts on what is actually happening. And if all of a sudden, Brandon, if the Bucs start connecting on those deep balls, if the offense starts looking great, then guess what? Bruce Arians doesn't get that credit. Brady does, because Bruce Arians made it clear it's Brady's playbook. It's Brady's plays. But it's not fair that when things are going well, it's Brady, and when things are going poorly, it's Bruce. That ain't right, and I don't blame Arians for pushing back on it.
Blindsided. I'm absolutely blindsided. When this news broke, I said this is the worst news possibly for me. All year since week 2,
for me.
I stood on this table and defended Tom Brady. Nick, what's his name? Tom Edward Patrick Brady or whatever. I defended this guy against you. You crushed this guy week after week after week, and I keep saying I'm one of those people. No. Here's my notes from last week. 90% Bruce Arians offense, 10% Brady and / New England stuff. Tons of aggressive plays down the field and route concepts. That's the stuff I talked about last week. So now we fast forward to today, and we're saying that Tom Brady could potentially be the person behind not running the ball like Brian said. He's the one that wants to take these shots. Tom, that's not who you are. If this is true, that's not who Tom is. Tom has won Super Bowls dinking and dunking. He has won Super Bowls throwing inside to outside. He occasionally takes shots because the run plays are working, and then he goes to play action, waggles, the flea flickers. We've seen this week after week in New England. So I don't know what's going on here, but he's due to speak tomorrow or Thursday, and he's going to have a lot of questions that he has to answer, because if this is him, this is probably a big ego play. Do what you did to win Super Bowls in New England here in Tampa. Don't make up things right now.
Okay, but here's the problem, Brandon. In New England, we don't go down by 17 points and have people doing backflips into the end zone, which I think throws the playbook out the window. So, Brian, the question I have for you is this. Bruce Arians had said that Ronald Jones needs 20 touches a game, but he couldn't get them because they were down so much. When he did that little screen, he scored a touchdown. He had a big run against Carolina, but that was when they were really doing ball control. As a running back, do you subscribe to the theory that once we're down big, we can't run the ball anymore?
Well, no, you still have to have some balance. And, of course, it's harder to run the ball when you're down big. And we understand that. But part of the not being down big is taking the ball away from the other team. That's why you want to run the ball. Yep. That's why you want to keep the ball in your own possession. That's why on first and second down, it's critical that you get some positive plays so that now you're having a third and manageable so you can get first downs. Those are all things that the Bucs are struggling with. That's why I'm saying run the football or find other ways to get Ronald Jones the ball. We saw the long catch and run that he had last week. He's one of the better playmakers that you have on that football team, and he certainly should touch the ball a little bit more. But Nick, I want to push back on you just a little bit here when you talked about credit. The football is not about who gets the credit and who gets the blame, but the head coach should take a lot of the blame and credit. He's allowing Tom Brady to make these decisions. He's allowing Tom Brady to have this type of autonomy to say, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And the other question is this: how is telling people in the media that Tom Brady is making these calls, he is making these decisions, how is that helping your team? I can see how it can help Bruce Arians as a play caller and a coach in the future, but how is that helping your team right now? To me, it's really not.
Oh, I don't know that it is helping his team, but at some point, a man's had enough. At some point, you walk off the field against the Chiefs, and your wife texts you and says, you should have heard Romo. Literally, this happened. Brady throws an incompletion. That's the Tampa playbook. Brady throws a crossing route to the tight end. Oh, that's the New England playbook. Oh, really? New England invented a crossing route to the tight end. Brady throws deep down the field for a completion. The commentary is, see, there it is, the occasional deep shot. The very next play, he throws a duck of an interception. See, this is where the no risk it, no biscuit comes back to bite you. At some point, a man says, enough. The guy chose to come here. He could have stayed in New England. He could have gone to the Colts. He could have gone to Vegas. He came here. He knew
but let me
me.
play devil's
he knew
advocate.
Mike Evans. Yeah. Go
yeah,
ahead,
but
Brandon.
you notice, B, as a player, there's some things that we can't talk about. Like Nick just asked me, well, who are those two players in the locker room that you were talking to when you're playing for the Chicago Bears? There's certain things that is not meant to be said in the media. So when you think about Tom Brady, if I'm Tom Brady, and I can speak for Tom Brady, let's go back to week 1 against the Saints. Who dropped a lot of balls? Shady McCoy. Let's go back to the last couple of weeks. Who's struggling catching the ball out of the backfield? Leonard Fournette. So when you look at why he may be doing these things, he's not going to stand up and say it, but like my backs are dropping balls at a staggering rate. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to throw the ball to Leonard Fournette and let him pick it up, but he hasn't shown that he's capable of getting the job done. So just playing a little devil's advocate here, because it's not just one person, it's everyone, right?
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.